Come on. Come on. Yes, Hickok 45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the green hills and the warm, humid hills today of Tennessee, home of Buford Pusser. Right, you knew that, didn't you? McNairy County. So here you are now out here in the ticks and the heat and the humidity with me. Got a little sun action. I moved the table down a little closer. I won't be able to shoot some of the steel right on my face here, but I'm kind of late in the week. I wanted to shoot. Got a couple of guns that you've not seen. Yeah. This H9 from Daniel Defense. I've had this thing for 2 months, I guess at least, and I don't think I've brought it out, have I, on a Sunday yet? But been shooting a little bit. Thought I'd bring it out, and we need to do a video with it, right? So we'll be doing that. So I've been shooting it. Let friends shoot it some yesterday. Was down, shot, and see what he thought about it, and I shot it some more, and I'll shoot some today. Got some different ammo. That was just 124 grain hardball. Got some Underwood 147 grain hollow points. I'll shoot in it, and maybe some other stuff here. I don't know. But anyway, here we are. It is the 16th. It is Father's Day, right? So congratulations to you fathers, and hopefully you have survived it, right? It's a challenge having rugrats, isn't it? The reason is we all too were once rugrats, and we were probably a big challenge for our fathers and mothers and grandparents and everybody. So it's only fair everybody should have to go through it, right? So yeah, here we are. Gosh, yeah, remember it's a Sunday video, different. If you're new, yakking and shooting, different kind of video. And don't forget the Hickok 45 Clips channel. I know a lot of you are enjoying those. They pop up, and many of you still don't realize it's a different channel, but that's okay. It's clips from videos we've done over the last 17 years, okay? John posts one every morning, and could be anything, yeah. Sometimes it's me yakking about something, and whatever it might be, but he pulls clips from videos that are pretty interesting. I forget about, wow, this week, what were some of the us removing the basketball from the culvert over there using proper amount of firecrackers, I'll say, things like that, or just sitting and yakking about something. But it's interesting, and so I hope you're checking out the Hickok 45 Clips channel and subscribe. And what else? What else? Well, you know what I've got here? I've got the Daniel Defense, the Daniel H9, the Daniel Defense H9. We did one of these when they came out, and that company went out of business, went bankrupt, and Daniel Defense, bought the rights or the patterns and all that to that, and decided to improve it, bring it back out, and they changed virtually everything a little bit, at least, and so I've been studying up on it and the kind of the differences and everything, and wow, I had no idea that all the videos have been done on this firearm, and the fair amount of controversy over whether it's a POS or it's a definite improvement or whatever. So it's interesting, and so I've been shooting it, trying to figure out what do I think about it and what's my experience, okay? So I'm not overly influenced by everybody else, so it's interesting. The early videos, people, of course, you always have a spate of videos released when they're allowed to release them when a new gun comes out, and they're generally pretty complimentary, and then it's interesting, you go then the next round of videos when the gun's actually out there, people buy it and do videos. Some of those are not so complimentary, and apparently some of the early versions did have some problems, and I don't know, I've had this one for a couple of months. Yeah, it's been a couple of months. So we'll see how this one does. I've not had trouble with it yet. Okay, it's probably only fired though 100 rounds, something like that. And yeah, I have to look at the first video we did on this gun. I wasn't crazy about it. I felt like it was kind of an answer to a question that wasn't asked, sort of thing. But yeah, then again, a lot of people love the innovation of it, and you know, I'm not against innovation at all, if it makes sense. So I don't know. I'll see what I think about it. Got that out here to fire, and well, let's go ahead and fire some holler points. Make sure it fires. Now I fired some just yesterday, and it seemed to do fine. I've not had a malfunction with it yet. I will say that. Let's see if these hollow points, these are Underwood, see if they'll go through that paper cardboard. Yeah, oh, bullseye. Wow, what accuracy. How about you, cowboy? How about you, Clyde? I can't see Clyde. He's over there in the woods. Yeah, right there, in the shade, hiding in the shadows. Okay, Mr. Piggy. What about Mr. Gongy? I think one of those hit. Am I recording? Yeah. Trigger hurts my finger a little bit after I shoot it a little bit, unless I get just a pad on it like you're supposed to, but I don't do what you're supposed to. That's one reason I get a little pinch or pain sometimes from a trigger after a while. But all right, so it feeds hollow points. I've not had any trouble with that, and it shoots, windage seems to be okay, and I think it shoots, I'll have to shoot some more. I think it shoots a little below the point of aim, which I don't like, but I can't decide how much. I know I have to hold up when I'm out there very far. I'd rather do a 6 o'clock hold or right on, and but I'm not sure yet. I've got to shoot it some more. We'll do, of course, a video on it, and I'll have shot it more before that, and I'll have a better idea. You know, might have more things to report. I don't know. Depends on what goes on with it. So, I mean, it's not a firearm that I would purchase probably. You know, I don't know. I mean, you know, it's great that someone decided to kind of combine and striker fire, 1911 feel, and all that. But I just don't see any real advantage to it. You know, I guess the Daniel Defense version is not quite as odd. Doesn't have quite the big what do you say, underlug hanging down as much. So they tried to get a lower bore axis, as I understand, but I don't see any improvement really over a Glock bore axis or a lot of other striker fired guns. I don't know. So we'll shoot some more. So Daniel Defense, impeccable reputation as a gun builder. Wow. And it's interesting that they took this on. This is really, I bet there's a lot more to that story that we don't know, that I don't know at least. Like, why would you do that? Your first handgun, you know. I was impressed with Kimber, with their first handgun. You know, wow, that K6, nice. I think a lot of people were surprised. A really nice handgun. In fact, I carry one. In fact, there's one in my Alabama holster right there. The K6 XS, you know. Who'd have thunk I'd ever be carrying a Kimber, much less a Kimber revolver? So, you know, stranger things have happened, I guess. But yeah, I appreciate Alabama holster. Speaking of that, great little Kydex holsters. Got one over here for my phone. I just put it right back in it. And, you know, belt holsters inside the waistband, outside the waistband, purse holsters. They got it all. So check out their site and make sure you are ready. You've got protection for your firearm, okay? I love the little Kydex holsters for well, I don't know what, I'm not sure what to say. Not for antique firearms and that kind of thing. I don't like Kydex for my Colt single actions and things like that, of course. I'm not even crazy about them for, yeah, for a double action revolver, unless it's a, here I have one of my, unless it's a carry gun, you know, that sort of thing. But man, for most guns, for most of the guns that most people buy, and many that I have, you know, whether it's a P365 or, you know, whatever it might be, or a Glock 43 or 43, you know, a carry gun defensive pistol, they're marvelous. Marvelous. So, yeah, interesting gun. I've got another interesting gun I was glad to get in. And I was going to tell you too that I told you all, was it last week, I might be back from Friendship. I went up there, I had ate with my brother and everything, Northern Kentucky. I just didn't go to Friendship, you know, I skipped it, and I may go in the fall. So if you didn't see me at Friendship, which you probably didn't, that's the reason I didn't go. I was I had breakfast at the out in Grant County at the Sweet Owen Country Store. Yeah, my brother lives not too far from there, and in fact, my parents are buried not too far from there, and that's out in kind of my old stomping grounds, definitely theirs. And so I always like to go out there and have breakfast when we're up there. So what else? Let me shoot this other firearm. Look what else I got in this week. Da-da! Well, looks like my 1301 Beretta you've been seeing that I've been bragging about. Well, no, it's the A300 Ultima Patrol, and it is the kind of the lesser expensive, I don't know if we call it the version of that. It's just, as I understand, and I've got to do a little more research on it, but the A300, this is the gas system that Beretta has been using, and it's proven. And this is just kind of their tactical version of that gun. And they've had that out for a while. The blink system on the 1301 is a newer gas system, but this one is proven it works, and this is very much like the 1301. You know, same capacity, I guess, yeah, and everything, and some improvements actually. And I think in the carrier. And then, of course, this is the newest version, so it's got the newer 4, like the, what they call it, the Mod 2 or whatever, 4N, that the newer 1301s have. Mine does not have that, but this is a newer one. And I put the, I won't say extender, but I put a little bit of a spacer on it just so I could shoot it and enjoy it. I didn't put all the spacers on it, knowing this one goes back to Buds. Speaking of Buds, borrowed this from Buds, and it'll go back, and in those Hickok 45 auctions. And so I put enough on there to make it feel better. But my buddy that shot it yesterday, he liked it, and he's not doesn't have that long length of pull at all like I do. So I'll leave that on there. Simple enough to change out whoever ends up with it. Now this one has a, I don't know if you see the bolt in shipping was chipped, the bolt handle there, and it's a polymer. And so got a new one coming, I think within about 2 or 3 days. Okay, I contacted Buds about that, so I got that. So I'm going to shoot the gun, and it'll have a new bolt handle, or, you know, charging handle there when it goes back. Well, probably even for the video we do. Okay, with it. Is this a video? Sort of. So anyway, this is a fairly popular shotgun too, because it's $400 or $500 less than the 1301, and you get basically all the same wonderful qualities you get with the 1301. As I have read, this one may not be as reliable with really light field loads. That 1301 with that new blink system will feed like anything from the lightest ammo to the warmest and all that. This one, as I understand, you may have some issues with lighter ammo. I don't know. I have not fired it. Yeah, guess what? This is the first shots you will witness. So I brought some different ammo out here, some high brass stuff and slugs, and I may start with slugs to make sure it works. Then I got some just field loads. This is Fiocchi 2 3/4 ounce and 1/8, 1,200 feet per second. Okay, I'll be able to measure if that's correct, 1,200 feet per second, because I can tell when I shoot a bullet, shoot buckshot, how fast it's going out there. I don't need a chronograph. I've shot enough. I can tell. Can't you? I can tell. Because sometimes I'll read that and it'll say 1,200, And I can tell it's actually like 1225 or 1178 or something like that. So we'll oh, whoa, they just spilled all my boots. I will shoot some of those after I give it the benefit of the doubt and make sure it works with some slugs. How's that? Now, if it won't feed slugs, it has a problem. Okay, so this is 1 ounce slugs. Speaking of this, I was, well, let's get it ready to load. Yeah, I felt so green this week, you know, with all my EVs. Yeah, y'all might have an EV, you never thought about it. I have, I don't know if you call them vehicles, I guess that's a stretch, right? But I was mowing one day, and I am for electrical devices, battery-powered devices. I don't have an electric car, but I do like the electric, as I've talked about before, I think, implements. And maybe I've yacked about that before, and you all know this, I'm not telling you anything, unless you, I don't know, you're not a homeowner or you don't live out, you know, and mow grass and things like that, which a lot of you do not, right? That's okay, you won't miss it too much. But I've always had gas lawnmowers and all that kind of thing. But anyway, I figured out I bought a blower, battery-powered blower years ago. What else? A trimmer years ago. Those were Husqvarna, I think. And the blower kind of went on the blink after several years. And I got thinking, as things were changing, and everybody's making lots of stuff that battery powered. I said, you know what? I need to. I ain't too smart, but I need to figure out what brand I'm gonna have. Make sure I'm recording, not talking to the leaves out here. And as many of you have done, and so. You're never sure what's the best brand. I'd always heard Steel was really good chainsaws, and they made good stuff and everything. And I'd seen some things that I thought were great, that they were right size and everything with them. And I fell in love with the blower. I had to replace the blower, leaf blower. And I got it's the one it's the biggest one. The next step up is one you have to strap on your back or whatever. Okay, it's kind of a big old thing. Tunnel on it or whatever, but it's light, it's easy to carry. It takes that A300 battery, and I've had that for years. I love that thing. It'll just about blow you over. It's nice. And so that started it. So I got a hedge trimmer, which I don't use all that often. I don't really have hedges, but got bushes and things my wife's planted out in the yard. And it takes the same battery. So I've got the blower, the hedge trimmer, I guess it's called. And what was the next thing I got? I guess the lawnmower. The lawnmower I bought, was it last year, about a year and a half ago, an actual lawnmower. And it uses those same batteries. So a push mower, but it's self-propelled, so it's not a push mower, right? You know what I mean? And that thing has worked well. And then this past winter, when prices were down, I bought a trimmer, weed eater, uses that same battery. Okay. And so, 4 items I've got now with it. And so one day this week I was out. So at first I had the trimmer, I guess. I went around and trimmed. And then I put that battery, pull it out and put it in the hedge trimmer, hedge trimmer, from the weed eater to the hedge trimmer. And then I already have 2 batteries dedicated to the mower, I guess, but about 4 batteries, I suppose. And so I mowed the yard, and then I got the blower out and, blew off the grass and stuff, So I was feeling really green. All my battery-powered stuff. Never mind that it's all powered coal, in terms of charging the battery or whatever. But I saw you may have seen a meme or whatever, Instagram or somewhere, of a charging station for electric cars. I saw it just this week, funny. And they're pan over it, and there's this big tank of oil, reserve, and a generator as big as my house almost running, and it being fueled by that gigantic tank of oil and all this kind of thing. And that's what was powering these car chargers. You know, it was, I don't know, somewhere out west or whatever. So, you know, the reality of that, of course. So electricity has to come from somewhere to charge them their batteries, doesn't it? All right, let's try this thing. All right, now I've never fired it. I don't know if it's ever been fired. Beretta, Benelli, do y'all test fire your shotguns? Well, if not, I'll do it. Okay, it's a lot like my 1301. So we put a round in the carrier, just like that. And we rack one in and pop the safety off. And we blow something up like this target. Well, let's wait and blow it off later. How about let's blow a red 2-liter right there in front of me. Oh, I forgot I'm shooting slugs. Let's not waste slugs on a 2-liter right here. Let's go to the gong. All right, it's gong worthy right away. Let's try it down here in the hole. All right. How about that turkey down there? All right. Can I see the buffalo well enough to? I guess I'm going to go back to red on him. I can't really see him. Right in there. There's a little bit left. So, seems right on. I like that fiber optic front sight. Do I have that on my 1301? I don't think it has a fiber optic front sight. Does it? I need that. I like that. Well, so it shoots. Okay, it shoots slugs. Hi, brass. It's just fine. Let's go ahead and test it with you with some field loads. Again, I told you what, didn't I? Yeah, I read off what these are. No, was that the slugs? No, that was this box I read to you. Yeah. So let's put some of those in and see how it does. I'll just put a couple, make sure it works. Some of you have the shotgun probably, so you're laughing at me about not knowing what it'll feed or not. But I have read that it's not like the 1301 in terms of the wide range, but we'll see. We might get fooled here. I've been fooled before. It's called being a fool, right? Ooh. Huh. Well, so far. So again, that's 1 1/8 ounce, 1,200 feet per second, 8-shot, 2 3/4. Let's try that again. I am always happy if semi-automatic shotgun I have is not an issue with pump shotguns. Need I explain that? But if a semi-automatic will feed field loads, I like that. You know why? 'Cause that's mostly what we shoot, isn't it? And it's the least expensive. You buy a box of field loads. And back when I was playing the USPSA game, we'd have side matches, shotgun matches. That's when I got my Benelli Super 90. Now it didn't like field loads. It finally got to where it would feed them, but it took a long time. I had to find something with a little more punch to it. And we would have competition side matches. You know, like we'd go over and have like 4 or 5 pepper poppers or something like that. And it was just a matter of who could knock them down the fastest, you know, that sort of thing. And they were set so that you could knock them down with field loads. You weren't going to be shooting slugs at them, you know, because they weren't that far away anyway. So that's so much fun. You all know that. If you're a shotgunner, you like shotguns, just blasting away with field loads is so much fun, right? It's the kind of round, for those who are new to shooting, it's the same kind of ammo you shoot at clay pigeons and that kind of thing, or bird hunt with, you know, normally. Now, with ducks, I'm not a hunter, but with ducks, and I don't know, maybe some other big birds, you're hunting with more powerful loads, not just weak things like this, maybe, because you're shooting what, higher up, bigger birds, that sort of thing. Don't know for sure, but I think I'm right on that. So let's try that again. Make sure that wasn't a fluke, because I might be a fluke. You never know. I can't shoot bowling pin. I don't want to shoot anything too close. But well, let's just shoot that barrel down there. Let's pump some into it. Okay, I take it back. Now these are an ounce and an eighth. A lot of these are just an ounce, you know, field loads. If I get down to an ounce or less, maybe I would have trouble, or something with a little less power factor, depending on what you pick up. You know, if you just drop in Walmart or someplace like that and get a case, or you know, there's 4-packs, whatever, 12 gauge, and it's definitely low end stuff. I don't know, it may not feed it all, but that's good. That is good. Good news. And the sights seem to be on, at least well enough to pop a few things over there. So I see why people like this, and why more people buy this than the 1301, right? Because it is $400 or $500 less, and you get an excellent shotgun, Beretta, yeah, it's pretty cool. That's the thing about shooting. It is such a wonderful hobby, unless you don't enjoy shooting. If you don't enjoy firearms and you don't enjoy shooting, guess what? I've got a news flash for you. The hobby won't be fun, will it? But I've been lucky. Oh, by the way, I cut myself. Yeah, I didn't break my arm or anything there. I just cut myself this week. Maybe I'll confess how dumb that was. But yeah, you know, there's so many. I guess a lot of hobbies are a bit like that. But yeah, if you like shooting and you enjoy firearms, wow, what a big world it is, right? What a gigantic world. I started to say complex, and I guess you could say that, in that there's no end to the number of firearms that are out there being made today, or have been made in recent years, and then of course historical firearms. And wow, like Ian with a lot of the firearms, he's shown us on forgotten weapons, and just the firearms that a lot of we didn't even know existed, maybe, you know. And then lots of firearms that are maybe not even that uncommon, that we don't know about. I don't know about, you don't know about, but they're very common in some other country or whatever it might be. But and what I'm getting to is, even though I'm really young, right? I've been around a few years, and I still find guns like this that are just so much fun. I'm so impressed with, and they end up replacing maybe something I have, you know. A Beretta shotgun now is my bedroom shotgun, you know. It's one of my first lines of defense, the 1301. Who'd have thunk it? That it's not like I've decided, this old 590 pump is junk now. No, it has a defensive use as well, here and there. But as far as my primary bump in the night long gun, it's a 1301 Beretta, you know. A firearm I hadn't even fired. I couldn't even have told you about it. I didn't even probably know about it really a couple of years ago. So it's just a vast world. And even at my age, with all the shooting I do and messing with firearms, I still discover firearms that, wow, I know that. You know, I love that. You know, and it's easy to do that, though, isn't it? Any area, I think you already know everything. You've tried everything. Well, here I am. You know, as the last year or two, if I'm carrying a revolver in my pocket, it's a Kimber. Who'd have thunk that, you know? So, you know, so it's just a never-ending world that and guns are continually being created, new ones, and yeah, like this. They're not all perfect, but there's always someone making something new, right? And shotguns, I know they're not in vogue for home defense, and I don't know, in training schools or trainers around the country, famous or otherwise, probably don't do as many shotgun courses maybe as they used to 20, 30 years ago. Not as many people are showing up wanting those courses, okay? Not as many people like me still like a shotgun. And I think part of that, not to be a snob or pat myself on the back, I think it's a little bit like the 40 caliber to some extent. Nothing wrong with 9mm, what I end up carrying, you know, or a rifle, you know, or an AR and all that. But I think a lot of people that don't shoot a lot, they didn't grow up shooting, and there's a lot of people, of course, like that, right? They can grow up shooting, and they're not always, you know, messing around like I am, and maybe some of you shooting a shotgun one day, a 30-06 the next, and all that. So the recoil is not a big factor for you. You know, you're used to it, unless you grab something, some big African hunting game gun that really does knock you back. Is pretty stout. Normal guns, shotgun, 30-06, 308, those kinds of things, you don't really think of those as kicking that hard. So recoil doesn't really come into the equation in terms of you know, a defensive firearm or something you're going to have around. But I think for a lot of people it is, and it's harder to train somebody if they've not shot much. Think about it, right? In the military or in police academies or wherever it is, it's a whole lot easier to train somebody to shoot like the 223 round, right? Than a 12 gauge shotgun. And the same with 40 versus 9, that kind of thing. But I still like a shotgun, and I am so pleased to discover some new ones, these Berettas. I'm going to shoot a couple more, yeah, slugs. But I think that's some of it. I really do. I could be wrong. I think I was wrong one time about something. I think it was back in 1970 or 1965. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been wrong, right? Oop, there we go. Let's load this thing up. Safety on. So again, for those who are not all that familiar with what I'm talking about, don't feel strange. I rarely know what I'm talking about either. But one of the really popular Berettas is the 1301. It's a lot like this, and this one's very popular too now. The A300 Ultima Patrol, it's called, and it's a less expensive version, kind of, but it's not a cheap gun. What is it, 1,000, under 1,000, I think. I don't know. But a very nice gun, Beretta. All right, we got slugs in here, so let's slug something. About that propane tank. Did I rack one in yet? Knocked him over. Wow. Oh yeah, I like that that bead, that front fiber optic. That's nice. What else do you want to know about? I noticed on the news that was the Sandy Hook first graders that had to go through what they went through. What was that, 2012, 13? That they are graduating high school this spring. They just graduated, and I saw someone being, I don't know if it was an anti-gun piece or who was doing it, but I saw a piece of that crossed my mind. And wow, it's been that long, and they were talking about there's a big chunk of their class that is not with them, and they hadn't forgotten and all that kind of thing. But it didn't strike me, at least the part I saw, was an anti-gun, hit piece might have been later. But it's a shame that it's a shame when something like that happens, or anything like that, that we folks who are strong supporters of the Second Amendment, which most people I hope in this country are, you're almost reluctant to talk about it because you know where that conversation is going to lead, depending on what environment you're in and everything. But we really shouldn't be afraid to talk about the tragedy of things like that, how horrible. Because for one thing, the tragedy is the human tragedy and the tragic individual that committed the heinous act. We're smart enough to know it has nothing to do with a firearm. It's again, it's the same old deal. I don't get fat because of the fork or spoons I have. I don't run over somebody and kill them in my car because of the GMC I'm driving. It's me that did it, and so there are just disturbed people, and all that, and it's so sad that a disturbed human being can wreak so much havoc, in the world. It's one of the great injustices I've always thought in the world, that one person can ruin things for so many other people. Whatever you're talking about, they can do it. One person can. It seems almost against nature, that one person shouldn't have that power to do that, whether it's with a sword or a knife or a car or whatever it might be, or start a fire, forest fire, and burn down thousands of acres of beautiful timber, but one low life, one mentally ill person or whatever can do things like that. But it is, it's sad. If you're a Second Amendment supporter, as most of you are, if not all of you, you don't hesitate. Don't feel like you can't empathize with tragedies that occur. My gosh, I remember when that happened. It's one of the worst things you can almost imagine, because I remember saying that, shooting the breeze or whatever I was doing at that time to yak at you, but as someone who likes kids and a teacher and all that, and just a human being, it's just really was hard to even fathom, to think about, to imagine, first graders and going through that and all that sort of thing. Just horrible. But anyway, so what do you want me to shoot? Let me shoot this thing again. All right. Now again, everybody probably has an opinion on this, even if you haven't shot it or held it. Interesting firearm. I think I still have a mag. Yeah, some hollow points here. Some Underwood. All right. Appreciate Talon Grips and Ballistol helping us out too. And Fun Gun Targets making those paper targets for us. All right. I can shoot this 2-liter right here. Some of it came back. That rolling pin. I know what I was going to do. I was going to shoot something not too far away here and see where it prints again. I tell you, let me try the Cowboy, so I can see it. Let's try this. Okay, I've seen a lot of things about how it shoots low left, and it shoots way below point of sight, different things, and I tell you, I haven't decided fully yet, because I need to shoot it some more. Oh, it hurts my finger. But, it was shooting low for me, really low, some of the first shots I took. And I'll say, I'll see what people mean. I kept bearing down more, and it would come up. And I've about decided at this point, I'm not sure yet, there's something about the trigger that really makes it more difficult. And I'm talking about more precision shooting, if bad guys, across the table about to kill you, boom, boom, it's okay. But as far as trying to shoot a group and hit some paper or something and put them where you want to put them, it's really easy with that trigger to pull down. It's just something about that trigger. That's what I'm concluding right now, and even go low left. Yeah, so I think that's a lot of it. And although I've seen reports where the sights were off, the rear sight was over or something to add to it. And I'll tell you, my buddy that shot it yesterday is left-handed. He's wrong-handed, wrong-minded and wrong-handed. And he is a really good shot. He's probably better than I am in a lot of ways. And he was shooting it at some early on when it was going low right for him. Occasionally. I've never seen him do that. And then he was shooting it right on as well. So That's my perception at this point. When you really, really focus on that thing, I think it shoots almost right on, okay? And right where it's pointed, maybe a tad below, but very close to where a Glock sight would be out of the box, I think. But that trigger is very, very different, and I don't know, it's real easy to pull it down a little bit. So, I don't know, I'll shoot it more. See what I think about that. Okay. All right, I gotta shoot this shotgun some more. And do I know anything about young people? No. Oh, I know my advice for young people. You know what might be a good thing for you youngsters to do, for all of us to do? And I do more of that in the summer. It feels like I come out on the porch swing in the morning and read a book, an actual book. But it might be good for you, even if you don't like to read. Find a book on a topic that's of interest to you, and it's an interesting book, and just read. Find something that would be fun to read, be interesting. Maybe it's a novel. I always recommend nonfiction. I like a good story. Read a lot of great novels in my life. I was an English major, but I tell you what, I read for my own choices. They always end up nonfiction. There's just a big world out there, and so much to learn about, so many interesting things. And and then with nonfiction, you can read some and bookmark it, come back and pick up later. You don't have that continuous story. That's a different matter if you leave it for a long time. But find something that you're interested in, get a good book on it. And I think we underestimate, obviously, the power of reading, because someone has taken a lot of time, carefully constructed those sentences, okay, and this topic. And I think it's a little different from reading an article, online, where you got 40 pop-up ads coming at you, and just by nature of the fact that if it's designed to be put online, it's more of a grab your attention fast kind of thing. Some of the articles are so poorly written. Oh my gosh, you got to wade through ads and get down 4 or 5 paragraphs here and there and 14 more ads, but you don't even know what the article is about, and the terrible writing, getting to the point ever, it's just crazy. Is mainly something to draw in ads or eyeballs, most of the time. So just find a book on something that you like, a topic you like, and if it's not interesting, ditch it, get another one. Find one that's interesting, and just quietly spend some time with that book and that author. Really, that's my recommendation. It might be good for you. I think it's good for me. So let's try this thing one more time before I let you go. I am pleased. I'm glad I lied to you about fitting lighter loads. Although, again, these are 1 ounce and 1/8. Maybe that's just all it needs. That's what I did. The story, the lie I was telling you about my Super 90. No, it's not a lie. It didn't want to feed light loads, field loads. I just pick up wherever, Walmart or somewhere. And that's when I started loading shotgun shells, because you wanted the kinds of competition we were doing. You wanted the lightest load that you could that would cycle the firearm, but you didn't want to get high brass, expensive, and more recoil. You're trying to win, the speed. And so you wanted whatever would cycle the gun, but nothing beyond that. Just all you needed, but nothing more. So I got into loading. That's when I started loading shotguns. I bought a press, and I loaded kind of a trap load, or maybe something like this. It was just a little stiffer than the cheapest stuff you pick up. And it was, of course, consistent, and I tested it, and I knew it would work, And I loaded that for a lot of years for that Super 90. And it may be similar to this, I don't know. It may be what I ended up with, 1 ounce and 1/8. I don't remember. I hadn't loaded shotgun forever. Last thing I loaded for shotgun was black powder shells for cowboy action shooting. Okay, that's what I ought to test in this, some black powder shells. Okay, good old A300 Patrol, Ultima Patrol. Okay, Is it gonna work? Yeah, feels good. All right. Yeah, so there you go. Another fine Beretta, I guess. Another thing I like about it is that the sight is right on, for slugs. Another good rifle. So I guess I ought to let you go. Hopefully the lighting isn't too weird. Hopefully I'm not too weird. You can understand a little bit about what I say. Did I forget to mention anything that you were dying to know about? I guess not. So anyway, remember the Hickok 45 merch at the Bud site, and appreciate all the people that help us out, and appreciate the people that watch these goofy videos. So make sure you're subscribed and you come back. It's constant battle now with gun videos. We still post 2 or 3 every single week, not counting the clips channel. So they're out there. I see so many comments. Wow, glad to see you're still doing videos. Yeah, glad to see you're still here. Yeah, well, where have you been? We haven't gone anywhere. So I'll see you next Sunday, I hope. And I hope you have a good Father's Day. Be nice to your father. I know he's probably mean to you at times. And you probably have heard so many dad jokes. You just can't stand one more dad joke. Well, just keep in mind the nature of dad joke. Why do fathers use dad jokes? Okay? So I think a lot of young people are of the opinion that dad thinks he's funny. See, it's like I was telling you a few weeks back about what I would do for my students. The literary device actually called, like Wilsonisms or whatever with my name. Humor that is supposed to be funny but never is, or something like that. Well, the actual intent is not to be funny, is to harass the kids, see? So your dad isn't telling you all those dad jokes necessarily. Now some might think they're funny because he thinks he's funny. He's doing it just to pick on you. It's like I do Davey, my grandson, or John, use lame humor. It's just another way to, pick on somebody, right? Throw lame humor at them. That's not funny, see? So that's what that's all about. Your old dad probably knows it's not funny. That's why he keeps telling that same joke over and over. Yeah, keep that in mind. I'll see you all next week. Life is good.